Okay, it's day 162, and this is part 2. Clinton Executive Services. Clinton Executive Services. Well, if I had Clinton Executive Services and I wanted to hire SES, I wanted to bring SES into this country to kind of infiltrate, create a kind of a cadre of people that would only be beholden to me, sort of like what Hillary did with the superdelegates at the DNC, or for the DNC, the Democratic Party itself, I would go through Google. What better color of law would there be, or color of legitimacy would there be? I would go through Google. And this, we talked a lot about the Highland Forum yesterday as a kind of a bridge between Silicon Valley and Washington, D.C. and the swamp. We talked about also Aspen Consulting Group doing that. Well, Clinton Executive Services just happens to be, or it was, it's in the news today on the Washington Examiner saying that we don't want to get drug into the Hillary email scandal. Well, if you are actually using Clinton Executive Services to bring in people through the color of law, through Google, through EB5s, through Google, through Eric Schmidt, through Amy Rayo from Internet Archive Solutions, or whatever, the Internet Archive Solutions, I think it's what it's called. That's the cover, bringing in Arun Rayo as a prosecutor in Maryland, or Rayo Abbas as or whatever as a person, an IT person in Washington, D.C., or all the other folks, then it's a part of it's part of pay to play. It's a part of the discussion. You're not getting drug in. You are a part of it. You're in the central part. So Clinton Executive Services is going to be a part. And everybody says, well, where the heck is Clinton Executive Services? Well, it's where I interviewed Charles Ortel, 111 8th Avenue, 111 8th Avenue. I'm not making this up. Check it yourself, 111 8th Avenue, Clinton Executive Services. What else is at Clinton 111 8th Avenue? Well, I think if you remember the interview I had with Charles Ortel, he said, we're looking straight at the Google building, straight at the Google building. So none of this is being hidden. It's right out there in the open. I mean, the funnel is Google through 111. I think there's also some stuff with Joe Crowley in Jackson Heights, with Imran, with the Jackson Heights pro forma resume. But if you go back, I think, Tina Flournoy, I think she spells it Noy, N-O-Y, at the end, and I think Clinton Executive Services had an N-E-Y, but there was an email, I think, way back when, in the Clinton email, DNC email, about Tina Flournoy about Clinton Executive Services. So you can go back and look at that. They were talking about backup servers and moving the server out of Chappaqua and moving it over to Secaucus, New Jersey. That's where Platte River Networks, I think, had servers. So this is all going to tie back into Brian Pagliano and all the Cornbetta, who both got immunity. Cornbetta was the guy who was the one who wanted to learn how to bleach bit he was in a chat room learning how to bleach bit in Colorado. And then Pagliano is the guy who was in contempt when Jason Chaffetz said, hey, you got to come and testify. Now, what I would say is Nunes should go right back and hold him in contempt, and then issue, I guess what happened yesterday was Sessions sent a letter saying you're not limited, second prosecutor's not limited just to public employees. This shows why you can do past employees, but it shows the Paglianos and the Cornbettas is exactly why we need to have a real special prosecutor, so that you can bring everybody back in that all thumb their nose at the Congress, because it's going to go back to 111 8th Avenue, where I interviewed Charles Ortel for the Google building. And this is the key. This is the basket of deplorables. It's also used for Internet Archive Solutions is doing the deplorables system. That speech that Hillary made, basket of deplorables speech, was made on September the 9th. CNN covered it. It was Michael Hayden, James Clapper, and also Chertoff of DHS, and they were going to have the hammer. They were going to take all those hammer conversations from Larry Klayman, all those disk drives, and they were going to hammer all those people that were on their nasty list. And the winners list is something that Hillary has done for 20 years, and the hate list is something that she's done for 20 years, probably longer. So Clinton Executive Services, you're in the news today. Congratulations. And also I want to say that Google could be used also here as a cover. DIA, Defense Intelligence Agency, is in charge of covers So if I want to bring somebody in as a journalist, but I really want to bring them in as a spy to get a whole bunch of OPM names or whatever, I create a cover. So I say, oh, you're a programmer with Google, or you're a journalist with Fusion GPS, or you're a journalist with New York Times, or you're a journalist with, you're Donnie, we're going to put you in over at CNN Money, and you're going to be working for us for a cover. That's DIA, just so I just remind everybody. DCO, which is the Defense Cover Organization, the Defense Cover Office. And then if you go down there and look there, they have a cover officer. It's called a CS. So this is the question now, white hat, black hat. Tony Schaefer and Mike Flynn, I think they're white hats, but, you know, are they white hats, are they black hats? We don't know yet. But are they Q? Or is Mike Flynn's son Q? And are they actually, you know, Tony Schaefer did this Chain of Command series, and there's the Q coffee cup and all that sort of thing. Are they trying to, in a subtle way, bring the DIA back under the auspices of the president rather than the auspices of SES? Everything was riding along fine when it was under the auspices of Hillary Clinton. If she'd have won, she'd have had that, you know, basket of deplorables, you know, staff. She'd have had Chertoff, she would have had Hayden, she would have had Clapper. But now, since there's no Hillary didn't win, and now we have a president, now we have this cognitive dissonance. Should people at DIA do what the president wants them to do, or should, it's very cold here, sorry, or should they do what the SES superdelegates, Hillary's SES superdelegates want them to do, the Google superdelegates? Well, is Q a way of gradually, you know, helping people in the infrastructure of our government to kind of come back? Now, when Hope Hicks's boyfriend was putting out tweets with Q, I was finding a lot of value in it. Then he got thrown out, and then Hope Hicks got thrown out. And then it kind of turned into I don't want to say Steve Pachenik exactly, but a Pachenik-like signature, like fake, like Trust Sessions, which I didn't, you know, as soon as I heard that, I was like, psh, gone. Done with Q. I didn't realize there was two Qs. And now recently, the third Q looks like kind of a comeback, kind of a Tony Schaefer signature, kind of reminding people of this, of these earlier Q1. So Q3, Tony Schaefer, Flynn kind of signature reminds me of the Q1. We'll keep on that because there's a lot of stuff that Q wrote that I find it's going to be effective. The Keystone, he made a lot of comments about Keystone, which is the symbol of the SES. And we really do have this kind of, this is the conflict right now in our country, is this SES group. I think it's going to be DIA, and I think it's DIA Cover Services specifically that did these covers for the Awans and so forth coming in and out of the country through Google and other companies, not just Google, Facebook, other organizations, as well as the Congress, versus the Constitution, the chain of command, the president, and et cetera. So we'll see what happens.